3 for good luck, I guess. This has been a pretty bad shoot so far, so... I was trying to go for the Sarah Zed thing again, but, I don't know if it's working out. I feel like I'm, just out of sorts. I'll figure it out, but I feel like something's a little off. Okay, well, hit it. Hey folks, my name is Dennis, and this is part 2 in our series about water here in Southern California. I know, you're all so excited. The last time that we talked about water, we talked about how Anglo homesteaders abused the land, the law, and underpaid Asian immigrants to make bank off of the eco-colonized Imperial Valley. I also briefly mentioned how a levee break made a fun little anecdote in California history. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you a very similar situation, an eco-colonized area with water rights dubiously sold by some white guy. However, this was in Los Angeles, and his flood was far more disastrous. So let us not waste any more time and talk about William Mulholland and the St. Francis Dam. William Mulholland was born on September 11th, 1855. Never forget. In Belfast, which was then part of Ireland. He was a member of the British Merchant Navy, and he eventually found himself in Los Angeles in 1877. I'd go over more, but his military stuff is kind of boring. And because it's the British Navy, just assume that it was a bunch of colonizing anyway, so there you go. At the time, LA had a significantly smaller population than it does now, a paltry 9,000 people. At the time, LA was basically just a desert town, so Mulholland found odd jobs working at the port of San Pedro, digging wells and prospecting. He eventually did land a job with the Los Angeles City Water Company. I know I said San Pedro, but it's one of those things like Los Feliz, you just say it that way in LA. You just say it. The Los Angeles City Water Company was a private company that held the water distribution rights in LA at the time. People really fucking hated it, and in the late 1800s and early 1900s, then Mayor Fred Eaton had control of the LACWC turned over to the city, and his buddy Mulholland was made head of the water company, which would later be known as the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Now, I don't live in LA proper, but I have heard plenty of stories from friends and acquaintances that do live there and say that it can still be a bit of a nightmare to deal with. Just a few years ago, LADWP was overcharging residents because of a computer glitch. Eaton had the bright idea to change the way that LA got its water. Previously, they had been using the old-fashioned aqueducts to bring water from the city via the Los Angeles River. However, he and Mulholland thought that it would be just grand to take the water from the Owens Valley, which is about 200 miles north of Los Angeles, and was once very lush and green, and you could kind of see where I'm going with this one. The LACWP bought water rights from the residents of the valley pretty unscrupulously, and would often pit neighbors against one another. This isn't to say that farmers in the area went down without a fight, though, and would often attempt to sabotage the aqueduct, which was completed in 1913, so better luck next time, boys. Eventually, the land in the Owens Valley dried up, and it's currently pretty much a desert. It's also home to Manzanar, the site that would later be known as one of the harshest Japanese internment camps during World War II, but we'll go over that in a different video. But back to Mulholland. You see, he wasn't being very direct with the public in Los Angeles. He greatly understated the amount of water locally available in the LA River to help the city grow. His main goal to divert water from the Owens Valley was not to let LA proper grow, but instead fill aquifers in the San Fernando Valley. For those of you who don't know, the San Fernando Valley, or the Valley as it's called here, is an extremely upper class part of LA, and it still is to this day. It is where we get the term Valley Girl from, where a lot of our slang comes from, and is like the setting for Clueless. Initially, the Valley was not part of LA, so the people buying water and water rights in LA proper had no idea they were getting second priority over Mulholland and his rich friends like Eaton and Harrison Otis, who was mentioned in my last video about water. During this time, Los Angeles was also annexing many of the surrounding neighborhoods and towns, which were hoping to get in on these water rights. That's why LA is so huge, and if Mulholland had his way, he probably would have spread as big as the county is now. But that's not quite what happened. After basically living the high life of a water baron, Mulholland's career came to an abrupt end on March 12th, 1928. Mulholland led the inspection of the newly built St. Francis Dam, a dam in which he he was the consultant of during its construction. The dam was located about 40 miles north of downtown Los Angeles in the San Francisco Canyon. The dam itself was pretty unstable. Rising water levels and temperature changes caused cracks, and they saturated the canyon walls. Mulholland gave his okay, and just 12 hours later, the dam collapsed at 11:58 p.m. There were no witnesses who actually saw the failure. They died shortly after in the flood. Their bodies, as well as tons of concrete blocks, were washed downstream by 12.4 billion gallons of water. All of this water made its way down the San Francisco Valley and into the Santa Clarita Valley. The cities damaged by the flood included Valencia, Newhall, Ventura, Oxnard, Castaic Junction, Fillmore, Bardesdale, and Santa Paula. Much of the debris made its way into the Pacific Ocean, and some bodies were found to be carried by ocean currents as far as the Mexican border. The official death toll of that year was 385, but the remains of victims were found every few years until the mid-1950s. Who knows, if you go hiking in canyon country, you actually might find some remains. Mulholland took the blame for the disaster. During an inquest regarding the failure, he said, "On the stand, the only ones I envy about this thing are the ones who are dead." He, however, did not serve any jail time and was allowed to retire on a $500 a month stipend until he died in 1935. He's buried at Forest Lawn Cemetery, a place where a lot of LA hotshots get buried. So if you'd like, you can go visit his grave and the likes of other famous dead Angelinos. Oh, but that is not the end of the story of Mulholland's legacy. For you see, there is a street and a highway named after him in LA, but also the Owens Valley is still a desert. In 1997, Inyo County, where Owens Valley is located, LA County, the Owens Valley Committee, and the Sierra Club signed a memorandum of understanding, specifying the terms that would get water back to the Owens Valley by June of 2003. However, the LADWP missed this 2003 deadline and was later sued. The case was settled by the state of California, and LA had to promise to rewater the lower Owens River by 2005. They missed the deadline yet again, but did eventually make good on their promise and filled it in 2008. So that's a bit about Mulholland and the water rights here in Los Angeles. I find this topic to be fascinating because we actually don't learn this stuff in school. Like, we have to take California history here several times, and you don't learn about Mulholland or Chaffee or Rockwood until you're in college. It's strange to me because I think kids would honestly get a kick out of this story. And it's better to teach them this than it is to have some rapist's movie mention a fictionalized version of Mulholland. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like the video and subscribe. I'm going to be doing more stuff about California in the future. This is not the last episode about water. I actually have one more script that's pretty much finished about some modern day water barons, and it's honestly kind of disappointing because they are a fellow group of Native Americans. Be on the lookout for that video. I'm also going to be speaking with local politician and good Judy of mine, Jose Trinidad Castañeda, who has a huge platform that encompasses quite a bit of things, but his main focus is environmentalism and environmental rights. So I will be sitting down with him soon to talk about local politics in the LA and Orange County area, but also just environmentalism in general in the United States. Keep an ear out. I will be on Psychic Dolphin Garage, the podcast. I'll be on their holiday episode. I don't know when that episode is coming out, so we'll see when all of this sort of goes down, but I will be sure to link you on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. If you're on Instagram and you follow me there, you can go ahead and vote for our non-academic video of the week. So what I do is I put up a poll of a non-academic topic that I want to make a video about, and you all get a vote on it. We've done Boba Del Taco, the Mariko Aoki phenomenon, Katamari Damacy, who knows what's next. I'd like to thank a couple of my donors. I'd like to thank Abby, Nicholas, and Jorge. If you notice, Jorge is seen here with some devil horns that I did myself, and that is because Jorge donates at the $6.66 level, which makes you a cool kid, and it also means that you get to get a cute little drawing like this. So isn't that fun? If you donate at a higher level, just let me know that if you want, a devil version of you. I'll still do it, but the point of entry is $6.66 for obvious reasons, so you gotta do it. But if you want a shout out like this at the end of my videos, go ahead and donate to my Ko-fi or my Patreon, and you'll get a shout out. It really does help me out. But that's gonna do it for me today, and until next time, take care and goodbye.